Hi Leo and Leo Rising, this is your February 2017 forecast. So there's quite a heady cocktail of influences in store for Leo during February. And this is because on the 11th of February there's a full moon lunar eclipse happening in your sign Leo. There's also later in the month a new moon solar eclipse happening in Pisces in your 8th house. So as a sign ruled by the sun, Leos can be a little bit more sensitive to eclipse energies, but of course they always carry the signature of change. And when these are happening in your own sign, as the one on the 11th of February is, change can be a bit more dramatic and pronounced. But it's a very positive full moon lunar eclipse happening, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. So let's look at the other influences this month. Until the 19th of February, the sun is going to be in your 7th house of partnerships. So this is where the time of year where you really want to partner up. You don't want to go it alone. So it's really about growth through significant others, and this is both romantic, spousal, and business partners. So, you need to find a balance between your needs and the needs of significant others in your life. It's also a very good placement for consulting. So if you do consulting in your work, and in some capacity we all do, then this is really going to be favored at this time. With the Sun and Mercury in your 7th house, it's a good time also to seek professional advice and opinions. So it's really about pooling your resources with others. It's not about going it alone. This is the time of year where you partner up and you get further faster through other people, whether it's professional advice or counsel, or whether it's your own consulting that really takes off or gets a boost, but significant partnerships definitely in the spotlight. From the 19th of February, the Sun moves into your 8th house, and this is the house of joint resources, and where we'll be seeing the new moon solar eclipse on the 26th. So the Sun in the 8th, the focus is really on joint resources and investments, money and property matters, especially joint ventures. It can also be the house of money coming in, going out. So this is really where you get your financial affairs, budgets, and taxes in order. Because the 8th house also deals with fears and anxieties of mind, this is also a very good placement for personal growth. And with Mercury joining the Sun here from the 26th onwards, it will give you a level of detachment. So looking at yourself critically and seeing what habits don't serve you anymore, deciding what you want to eliminate in your life. And Mercury, of course, here is going to make things a little bit more interesting in terms of conversations and intellectual stimulus that's, really pushing areas of personal growth. So let's have a look at the other influences. Mercury, as I said, will be in the 7th house until the 26th. And again, this is, along with the Sun, very good for consulting. So this really fans your professional competency in terms of consulting. So it lets you shine, it lets you articulate yourself very well. And as I said, very good for specialist advice. So if you need a fresh perspective on a problem, it's time to seek advice, whether it's from accountants, builders, lawyers, astrologers, you name it. So look for, advice, professional advice, and so don't try and solve certain things alone. This is where you want to look to other people for assistance and guidance. Mercury in the 7th is also very good for making contracts and for entering into negotiations of all kinds. So very favorable for business and commerce too. So at the end of the month, Mercury moves into the 8th house. And as I said, this is where, the house of joint resources, investments, property matters. So discussions and negotiations around properties, investments, monies happening. It's also very good for deep thinking and conversations around areas that you don't necessarily usually explore. So it's a little bit more introspective, Mercury in the 8th house. So looking deeply at yourself and perhaps a stimulus for positive change and growth. So Venus and Mars will be together in Aries in your 9th house. So Venus in the 9th house, it's really a good time to expand your horizons through Venusian things. So beauty, art, pleasure, travel. It's a good time to have a vacation. Mars here is going to want to be a little bit more adventurous, take you off the beaten track. So really it's all about pleasurable interactions, pleasurable encounters, expanding your horizons through beauty, pleasure, and leisure. So it's a good time for art exhibits, concerts, performances, theater, that sort of thing. And as I said, Mars in the 9th is really going to want to take you off the beaten track. So it's all about travels, adventures, sports, or maybe a combination of these things. If you have Mars in the 9th on its own, can sometimes provoke acrimonious legal encounters, but Venus here should soften that. So hopefully if you are engaged in legal matters, Venus here will help resolve things a bit more amicably. a bit more amicably than if Mars had been in the ninth house alone. But Mars is also direct and strong. It's in its own sign, Aries, so Mars is very driven, impulsive, rash, so this could be around formulating or hatching travel plans or study plans or plans for some adventures. So, and perhaps a vacation gets thrown in. So let's have a look at the other aspects this month. So on the 28th of January, the new moon is actually in your 7th house, and this is a startup energy for new projects and things that run until the full moon and really until the next new moon. So the focus here is on partnerships, so the moon joining the sun. So it's all around negotiations, diplomacy, compromise, and you're looking to see whether your relationships are mutually supportive. It's a good time to make contacts, and it can also be a very good time to make relationships public. And as I said, very good for consulting, either in your own capacity or with professionals for advice. So on the 9th, we've got the Sun in your 7th house, sextiling Uranus in your 9th. And this is very good placement for new activities and adventures, particularly with a partner. So this could also favor taking up a new study or discipline. So it's really about exploring new things. And for you, it's going to be probably with a partner. So you're feeling restless, energetic, and you want to shake up routine. On the 10th, we've got Mercury in your 7th house, sextiling Venus in your 9th house. So again, a good placement for partnerships, and this particular aspect is very good for pleasant conversations and interactions with loved ones or significant others. This one really helps you talk about your feelings. So if you want to make a declaration of love or tell somebody how you feel, this one will help you put those words out there and put your hearts on your sleeve. It's also very good for doing charming, beautiful, and scenic things with loved ones. So the full moon eclipse is happening on the 11th of February, and it's in Leo, so it's in your 1st house. Now, all full moons, and particularly eclipses, highlight relationships. So it's emotions, instincts. It's time to evaluate your relationships. So it's also good to purge emotional baggage, particularly emotional baggage from the previous 6 months. So you want to set a clean slate for the next 6 months going out, which is when this eclipse will play out. So this particular eclipse, it's in that 1st and 7th house axis, so it's all about partnerships, but very favorable aspects between the Sun and the Moon and Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus. So Jupiter here and can make you very magnanimous, do things on a big scale. So this for you in terms of partnerships, possibly even a new course of study with Jupiter in the 3rd. Stabilizing influences coming in from love relationships or children or things that you do for pleasure or fun, and things getting mixed up, perhaps some travel plans being made with Uranus in your 9th house. So Jupiter's influence always good for sociable, happy times, good fortune, activities around study, learning, and travel. So a very positive full moon lunar eclipse for you happening on the 11th, and one that will play out over a period of time. So the highlight is really on partnerships and those things that feed the partnerships, making it a more meaningful encounter. So it could be a watershed in this respect in terms of partnerships in your life and significant others. So possibly even making a relationship public, or perhaps, taking a relationship further, also key right now. So on the 14th, we've got the Sun in the 7th house, sextiling Saturn in the 5th. And this is very good for getting good advice from a partner, particularly an older partner. So looking for stabilizing influences in this respect, making long-term plans around partnerships. You're also more serious-minded, so, looking to consolidate, looking to long-term commitments and are under review here, so the Sun shedding light on that. So you could find yourself, as I said, the recipient of some good sound advice from an older person. And so this is all about practical common sense coming in from that influence. So Mercury is making some very, very positive aspects between the 16th and the 21st. So let's look at them one by one. On the 16th, Mercury sextiles Mars between your 7th and your 9th houses. So this is all about mental and physical busyness, and for you it's around partnerships, study, and travel plans. So a lot of vigor and energy, looking for stimulus, wanting to take initiatives. So you want to make use of any opportunities that come your way in the form of partnerships or travel or study plans. On the 20th, Mercury is sextiling Uranus from your 7th to your 9th house. And this is going to enable you to tackle problems you couldn't resolve in the past. Sometimes it can be a change of plans, particularly around travel, but this is a harmonious aspect, so it could be a welcome change of plans with regards to study or travel. Also giving you a fresh perspective on those areas. So in terms of studies, perhaps it's time to consider a new discipline or something that you can take up to improve your circumstances, or simply a change in travel plans. So on the 21st, we've got Mercury in a very harmonious trine to Jupiter, and this is always very favorable for business, commercial deals, and transactions for buying and selling. So in the house of partnerships and day-to-day routine, and also skills and habits and hobbies, coming up for you. So there could be some organization in this respect. You could be making future plans with a partner or around study, or new skills that you want to acquire. So this one helps for that big picture thinking as well. On the 22nd, we've got Mars squaring Pluto between your 9th and your 6th house. So these houses aren't angular, they're cadent, so it's not a very strong influence likely for you, but what can crop up at this time is power struggles, ego conflicts, anger and resentment. And for you, this could be possibly with foreigners, possibly around legal matters. So legal matters could be a little bit more heated or acrimonious under an influence like this if you are engaged in that. So on the other hand, if you can lay low and really focus on work or a physical activity, sports or those kinds of pursuits would be favored, in the 9th house. So, then you can actually siphon off this energy in a productive or constructive way. On the 23rd, we've got Mercury sextiling Saturn between your 7th and 5th houses. And this is good for critical thinking and serious matters. And this is more around partnerships and love relationships and children. So a more sober look at these areas of your life. So, it's also very good for careful and conscientious work. But, there are problems that you need to tackle with significant others that require more detail-orientated, more conscientious unpacking. Then this is the aspect that will help you take that sober, serious view. And just, go through things one by one and systematically. So we've got a new Moon Solar Eclipse happening in your 8th house on the 26th of February. Now the 8th house is the house of finances and joint resources, budgets. So this one is all about consolidating financial affairs over the next 6 months. So getting financial affairs in order, resolving financial issues, especially shared or joint resources. These could be under review. If this isn't an area of concern for you, you may find that the other aspect of the 8th house is being triggered for you. It's plans around things that you want to develop, that you want to take to teaching, publishing, or print. Neptune is very strong under this new moon solar eclipse. The sun and the moon are conjunct Neptune. So also conjunct the fixed star Scut. So this can show assistance from friends. And Neptune, of course, always, favors artistic, creative, or philanthropic projects. So it can have one feeling a little bit idealistic, but it's important to keep your feet firmly on the ground, especially because Mars and Uranus are conjunct at this time and in semi-square to the sun and the moon. So Mars and Uranus can make things go a little bit unexpectedly, some haphazard developments. And for you, this could be changes of travel plans, study plans. Things could be thrown a little bit off kilter quite unexpectedly. So you may have to factor in those sorts of things, and very important not to behave rashly or impulsively with that influence coming in. And with the influence of Neptune, although very positive in many respects, it's going to heighten intimacy, matters for you, and sharing and caring are going to be big. So really good for heart connections. It's also, when it comes to other more practical, tangible things like financial matters, it's important to keep your feet on the ground. So, this isn't time for pie in the sky thinking or get rich quick schemes. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this forecast, please like and subscribe. And thanks so much for listening.